A friend of mine recently sent me a new weight loss product. Like most of the rest of the world, I struggle keeping my weight in check. I was skeptical at first when my friend gave me 2 boxes of a product called Unicity, but I decided to give it a try, and boy, am I glad I did. In 1 month, I've lost 28 pounds. That's a lot for me, and I've hit my target of 175 now, which is really amazing. The way it works is you take the first product called Balance, which is labeled as a glucose and cholesterol support drink mix. About an hour later, I mix up the second in the Unicity series called Unimate. Beth urged me to say that neither of these products have any synthetic sugar. The important ingredient in Unimate is a South American herb known for its weight loss properties, green mate leaf extract. This combination is the only thing that has ever curbed my urge to snack, and the result has been a steady weight loss. Go to youfeelgreat.com and use code BILLSTILL or call 1-800-864-2489 and tell them Bill Still sent you. Good evening. I'm still reporting on Bret Baier's interview with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Fox News leading news guy Bret Baier interviewed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu earlier today. The interview, marking Netanyahu's first since Israel's strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and leadership, aired live during a special edition of Special Report at noon today. The interview was lengthy and went into unusual detail considering that Israel is under direct attack from Iranian medium-range ballistic missiles. Bret Baier also asked probing questions which tested the Prime Minister's ability not to reveal state secrets about how Israel is conducting the war. This raises questions about why Bebe would consent to such an interview. Netanyahu was able, however, to skirt around most of the delicate issues, but there were some questionable exceptions. Interestingly, the Prime Minister did say that Iran's newest medium-range ballistic missiles do have the ability to accelerate to Mach 6 in the final seconds of their descent phase, making interception difficult.
First of all, let me start at the beginning. Why did you launch this operation now?
Because we were facing an imminent threat, a dual existential threat. One, the threat of Iran rushing to weaponize their enriched uranium to make atomic bombs with a specific and declared intent to destroy us. Second, a rush to increase their ballistic missile arsenal into the capacity that they would have 3,600 weapons a year, new weapons, within 3 years, 10,000 ballistic missiles, each one weighing a ton, coming in at Mach 6, right into our cities, as you saw today. And then in 6 years, 20,000. That's no country can sustain that, and certainly not a country the size of Israel. So we had to act. It was the 12th hour. We did act to save ourselves, but also, I think, to not only protect ourselves, but protect the world from this incendiary regime. We can't have the world's most dangerous regime have the world's most dangerous weapons. We're protecting ourselves, but by doing so, we're protecting many others.
You know, I just want to press you on the intel on the nuclear part. Less than 2 months ago, the new director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified on Capitol Hill, saying that everything had been suspended since 2003 and had not restarted, that the nuclear program had not been restarted by the Iranians. So did something change from end of March until this week? Was the U.S. intel wrong?
Bebe skillfully dodges this question by only mentioning the Israeli intelligence product, which was obviously much more accurate.
The intel we got and we shared with the United States was absolutely clear. Was absolutely clear that they were working in a secret plan to weaponize the uranium. They were marching very quickly. They would achieve a test device and possibly an initial device within months and certainly less than a year. That was the intel we shared with the United States. I think we have excellent intel in Iran. I think we've proven that. And that is something that we couldn't possibly accept. Whether it would be 6 months or 12 months or 13 months is immaterial. Once they go that route, it's too late. And we will not have a second Holocaust, a nuclear Holocaust. We already had one in the previous century. The Jewish state is not going to have the Holocaust meted on the Jewish people. It's not going to happen. Never again is now, and we had to act now.
What is the goal of these strikes? You talked early in one of your speeches after the attacks began with a message directly to the Iranian people. Clearly, some of these strikes have targeted Iranian leadership, military, nuclear scientists, and other leaders. So is regime change part of the effort here?
Could certainly be the result because the Iran regime is very weak. I think it's basically left with two things. It's plans to have atomic bombs and ballistic missiles. That's basically what Iran has. They certainly don't have the people. 80% of the people will throw these theological thugs out. I mean, they murder them, they oppress them for 46 years, they've yearned for freedom. I mean, they shoot women because their hair is uncovered. They shoot students, they just suck the oxygen from this brave and gifted people, the Iranian people. And you know, the Persian people and the Jewish people have had an ancient friendship. Goes back to the times of Cyrus the Great. It could happen again. But again, the decision to act, to rise up at this time is the decision of the Iranian people. We decided to act because we saw enough uranium, enriched uranium, for 9 bombs. And all they had to do was weaponize them. We stopped that. We're attacking their nuclear sites. We attacked their chief nuclear scientists working. It's like Hitler's nuclear scientists. Would you leave them? Of course not. We attacked their top command. I can inform you, Bret, that moments ago, we also got the chief intelligence officer and his deputy in Tehran, because we're now over the skies of Tehran. Our pilots, our brave pilots, are over the skies of Tehran, and we're targeting military sites, nuclear sites. That's what we're doing to take out those 2 threats. Unlike the Iranians, who your reporter said correctly, they're targeting our civilians.
Yeah.
They're bombing our civilians. So that's the difference. They're a terrorist regime. We can't have Iran have nuclear weapons. And by the way, our intel shows that they intend to give these nuclear weapons to their Houthi proxies and others. And that's nuclear terrorism on a global scale. It threatens everyone. And the last thing is they have plans to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles. Right now, 8,000 kilometers, very soon, just at a little distance, and they can reach the eastern seaboard of the United States. These people who chant death to America, try to assassinate President Trump twice, chant death to America, burn the American flag. Do you want these people to have nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to your cities? Of course not.
Yeah.
So we're defending ourselves, but we're also defending the world.
Bret caught something big.
I want to talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number 1. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with him in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He made it very clear, including now, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, which means you cannot enrich. He's been very forceful. So for them, he's enemy number 1.
Yeah.
Look, they also tried to kill me, but I'm his junior partner. They understand that President Trump is a great threat to Iran's plans to weaponize nuclear weapons and use them.
When did you tell President Trump you were going to launch these strikes?
This gets into just how much U.S. involvement there has been in the planning, which directly undercuts Trump's minimal involvement official responses.
Look, I've been in constant contact with President Trump. We've known each other for many years. And obviously, we informed our American friends and President Trump, our great friend, ahead of time. We did. He knew about it, of course.
I mean, there were reports that President Trump kind of helped you achieve your strategic surprise by publicly urging you not to attack when he already knew you had decided to do it. So you were closely coordinating with the U.S. throughout this process.
Look, we're fully coordinated, but understand that America, under President Trump, will make the decisions that are best for America. And that's the way it is. He understands that I, as the Prime Minister of Israel, the one and only Jewish state, must make the decisions that are important for the survival of my country, and he will do what is best for America. That is relationship of mutual respect and mutual confidence.
Does Israel have the capacity to strike Iran's nuclear sites deep underground?
Well, we've certainly done quite a bit. We've destroyed the main facility in Natanz. That's the main enrichment facility. And if we need to, we'll add whatever is needed. But yes, we're committed to achieving both goals. And I'm not going to get into all of our objectives. I don't want to get into specific operational plans, but it's our existence. But not only ours, I think it's a wider battle here of civilization against barbarism, of good against bad. I mean, this regime, look at what it's done without nuclear weapons. It just fomented evil everywhere. I mean, they've pushed international terrorism to the hilt into every part of the Middle East, in Syria, in Iraq, Lebanon, where they had Hezbollah, Hamas, where they encouraged the Houthis, the great massacre of October 7th, the Houthis. That's what they're doing when they don't have nuclear weapons, including attacking American targets. Now imagine what they'll do if they had nuclear weapons. And I'm always amazed at people who say they care about America and they don't want a war. They're right. This is a forever war that Iran is doing without nuclear weapons. And imagine what they will do if they have them. I think for the security of Israel, America, the world, we must make sure that they don't have these weapons and the means to deliver them. And they're working on both.
Baier then presses Bebe on whether the U.S. will provide the bunker buster bombs needed to eliminate the deepest buried Iranian nuclear sites.
I just want to ask you about the nuclear sites. Fordo nuclear enrichment facility located deep inside a mountain. These are from Iranian nuclear experts inside this mountain near Qom. Esfahan, deeply buried facility where Iran stores its highly enriched uranium. In some ways, experts say it might even be more important than Fordo. The IAEA says it's a half-mile deep. So I guess the question is, if the goal is destroying Iran's nuclear program, how do you do so without the 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs that really only the U.S. has? Have you asked President Trump to use that 30,000-pound penetrator bomb to get to those facilities?
I'm not going to get into my discussions with the president, but understand that his decisions are his decisions. As for these targets, we've destroyed in Isfahan the conversion facility they had. That's a very important facility that without which you can't really build a weapon. That's gone. There are other plans that we have. I won't get into it. I think Israel has shown that it has well, how shall I say it? We're the innovation nation that we're called that, startup nation. So we have quite a few startups and quite a few rabbits up our sleeve. And I don't think that I should get into that.
Okay. Well, I mean, are you getting everything from the U.S. that you've asked for? Is there something that you've asked for that you're not getting?
Bebe's answer reveals two items that are completely new. One, that American pilots are shooting down Iranian drones, and two, that American missile batteries are helping defend Tel Aviv.
What I'll say this is that I deeply appreciate President Trump's decision to help in the defense of Israel. American pilots are shooting down drones that are headed towards Israel, as do our pilots. American THAAD missile batteries are helping defend Tel Aviv and greater Tel Aviv area. American Aegis ships are in the Mediterranean. That's all a decision by President Trump, which I deeply appreciate. Again, his decisions on what to do at any given time is the president's decision. I trust his judgment completely.
Do you have any estimate on how much you have set back Iran's nuclear program?
I think we've set them back quite a bit. I think they were completely surprised. And, you know, surprise is a great element of success. Remember the Pagers? Remember Nasrallah? That's part of breaking up the Iranian axis. And we achieved that with surprise. And I think we achieved a great surprise the other day when we started. You know, we could wait and wait and wait. They'd string along the negotiations. We gave them a chance. I gave them a chance. But it was clear they were not serious about it. It became clear, I think, to the United States as well, because the president was very clear. He said, you can't have nuclear weapons. And in order not to have nuclear weapons, you can't enrich uranium. And they basically strung everybody along, and it was clear to us it was going nowhere. I could wait and wait and wait until they officially declared that the talks were off, or they, you know, and we'd officially declare that we're going to attack them. That's not how I conduct wars, and it's not how Israel conducts wars. So we're, you know, we're geared to do whatever is necessary to achieve our dual aim, to remove two existential threats, the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat. And we're doing that as we speak now in Tehran, but we're not bombing the population. We're telling the population, leave. So when we hit the targets embedded in civilian areas, you won't be hurt. And there's now mass migration from Tehran right now. That's what's happening.
Numerous posts on YouTube say that there are massive traffic jams in Tehran as people attempt to flee the city, as either the U.S. or Israel will likely start dropping the biggest bombs from the U.S. non-nuclear arsenal, the Moab, on the remaining hidden Iranian buried nuke sites. Speculation is that it appears no one is currently in charge of the country of Iran at this time. Additionally, U.S. intelligence sources say that the Iranian Intelligence Center was bombed today into oblivion, which is where their intel chief was hiding, as well as what remained of their military chiefs, all gone.
Mr. Prime Minister, what proportion of Iranian air defenses do you think you've taken out? Back in October, the air defenses were really decimated. Now you say you have kind of control of the skies as you're picking these targets, yet these missiles and drones are still coming your way as they attack, as you point out, civilian areas inside Israel.
Well, you're right. First of all, we're doing a lot to prevent a lot of them from coming in, but it's not hermetic. You're quite right. But when I say we have control of the skies, you correctly said that they had a very dense anti-aircraft batteries between the western border of Iran and Tehran, and basically our incredible, there's no other word to describe it, our incredible intel guys and the Mossad, they did wonderful work to peel off the layers of protection that they had, and our pilots took them out. And so we have a free highway to Tehran, and we can now pick off the targets that we need in Tehran and other places without having our planes shot down. And so far, none of them have been shot down. And I hope that continues. But we are absolutely resolute to remove this threat. This is what you have to do when you stand at the brink of catastrophe. And I think it's not just our test. You know, Churchill talked about the slumber of democracies. He said that democracies tend to sleep until the jarring gong of danger wakes them up. Well, sometimes it might not wake them up. Certainly, we didn't need a wake-up gong. I've been talking about the Iranian threat for 40 years. 3 years, I think, 4 years after the Iranian regime, the Ayatollah regime, hijacked Iran and the people of Iran. I said the greatest threat facing Israel and potentially the world is this regime that will try to arm itself with nuclear weapons. And I've devoted a considerable part of my life, in fact, most of my life, to preventing that. And when the gong of danger sounds, and you know it's the last moment, it's the 12th hour, you've got to act. That's what responsible leaders do. And what I seek is that the entire world will do what President Trump is doing. He's standing up for good against evil. He's standing up for the right against the wrong. He's standing up for good against bad. And I think that's very admirable. I salute you for it, President Trump.
The president's also, however, Mr. Prime Minister, calling for Iran to get back to the table, to the negotiating table. You don't seem to be saying that that's worth it. How does this end?
Well, in fact, I said it is worth it if they'll do what the president wants, and that is eliminate their enrichment capacity. You know, that's a lot better than my country, my forces, my brave pilots having to do it. It's much better than our Mossad operatives on the ground having to do it. But if they don't do it, and they certainly didn't want to do it, it became very clear, we had to act. We don't wait until we have a nuclear holocaust. That's not going to happen again.
So how does it end?
Well, it'll end when we remove those capacities, and we will.
You stop short of killing Iran's civilian leaders, just military commanders, I mentioned, nuclear scientists, but not the supreme leader, Khamenei. There is a Reuters report just moving saying that President Trump in the last couple of days vetoed an Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader, according to 2 U.S. officials. Is that true?
Actually, there's so many false reports of conversations that never happened, and I'm not going to get into that, but I can tell you, I think that we do what we need to do. We'll do what we need to do. And I think the United States knows what is good for the United States, and I'm just not going to get it
Okay.
beyond that.
The Iran foreign minister today told reporters this: if Israel stops attacks on Iran, quote, our responses will stop. The attack on Iran in the midst of nuclear talks clearly demonstrates the Israeli regime's opposition to any form of negotiation. Of the canceled talks that were intended to take place today, he said Iran would have presented a counterproposal that, quote, could have opened doors for an all-out agreement with the Americans. So, again, the foreign minister saying, if you stop, they will stop. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, it's hogwash. While they were negotiating, the Ayatollah himself, Khamenei, tweeted again and again, death to Israel. Israel must be destroyed. So some good faith there, right? Aside from that, they had bad faith because they were cheating, and we saw it in our intel. It was very clear. And the U.S. had that same intel. Believe me, we shared it. We share that intelligence. One of the great things of our unprecedented cooperation that has happened under President Trump is that we share every bit of information. So number one, he's lying. That's not new. Iran lies all the time. They cheat. But the second point is that they say, okay, we'll stop if you stop. Stop what? You'll continue to develop your engines of death, mass death, continue to develop your nuclear bombs, continue to develop the ballistic missiles like the one that fell in Tel Aviv, near Tel Aviv today. I was there, the whole building just slammed through. Children sleeping in their beds, killed. Women sleeping in their beds, killed. Horrible stuff. Yeah, they'll stop and continue to develop the means for our extermination. That's not going to happen. So obviously, that's not said in good faith. The issue here is not de-escalation. The issue here is not ceasefire. The issue here is stopping those things that will threaten our survival. And we're committed to stopping them. And I think we can achieve them. Now, if they are willing to accept President Trump's terms, that's a different matter. I said that months ago. And I said, and in my meeting with the president in Washington,
yeah, overnight,
if you can get a deal that does it, fine. But he didn't, not because the president didn't want it. It's because Iran didn't want it, and they cheated.
Overnight, you expanded your airstrikes to include oil and energy infrastructure in Iran. Is that a different phase? What's the point?
Well, this was an oil container. It wasn't a production site, but it merely means that we're ready to take whatever action is needed. And of course, we'll take some of those actions in response to what Iran does to us. But as I said, our main targets are the military and nuclear targets, and we're taking them out with the precision and with purpose.
We're not hearing much harsh criticism from the Gulf Arab countries. There have been some statements. Saudi Arabia putting out, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia expresses its condemnation, strong denunciation of the Israeli attacks that targeted the Islamic Republic of Iran, which violated sovereignty. These attacks represent a blatant violation of international laws and norms. That was early on, but not much since then. How do you judge the Gulf states' response to what's happening now?
Well, I'll leave that to them. They can speak for themselves. But I truly believe, that we have a great future if we take out Iran. Iran has been the systematic fomenter of wars, sabotage, terrorism. They attacked Aramco, the Saudi oil facilities. They send terrorists everywhere throughout the Middle East. So I think that I have a different conception, a different future. And it was embarked on with the help of President Trump and his leadership in the Abraham Accords, where we signed peace treaties with 4 Arab states, expanding the peace, something that wasn't done for a quarter of a century. And I believe that we'll have opportunities to expand the peace as well with other of the Arab states next to us. I think they understand that Iran is a mortal threat to them as well. They have their eyes on their oil facilities. They want the waterways with the Houthis. They want to conquer the Middle East. And the one obstacle they've had so far is the state of Israel, because we're the ones fighting Iranians. And the other obstacle they have is President Trump. And I think, I'll tell you, they think that President Trump is an enormous obstacle. They think that Israel is a very big obstacle.
Then Bebe reveals that the Iranians recently tried to kill him.
And they're out to get us both. In fact, they tried to kill me too. They fired a missile into my bedroom window. They missed.
Late-breaking news, the Swiss embassy has stopped all communication for Iran to the world. That means that an even larger strike may be about to take place on Iran this evening. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day, and please like, share, and subscribe below.